Every year, corporations spend billions of dollars on philanthropy, and for the past 8 years, top executives have met to advance the cause on International Corporate Philanthropy Day. Among the executives attending this year's meetings held today in New York City is Shelly Lazarus. She's the chairman of the Oglivy Group. That's a global marketing and advertising firm. Shelly, great to have you here with us.
Great to be here.
Why is this so important to do?
Well, I think the world is coming to realize that that the private sector has the potential to be a real force for good or a force for bad.
And it's interesting because it's called maximizing long-term profitability and societal impact. So you can do both.
You absolutely can. You know, when we first started having this conference, and I've been going for years, it was all about the traditional definition of corporate philanthropy, which was really about check writing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's sort of at the end of the year, you'd count your profits and you take some of your profits and give some to a museum and some to a school, and which was great. I think the whole concept of corporate philanthropy has changed, and it was evident in the meeting today. And that is that meeting societal needs, playing a responsible role in the communities in which you do business, has now come to the heart of what business is all about, and it's very important.
Don't you think it comes at an interesting time when we see kind of the government's problems on a federal level having to deal with spending and maybe cutting back on certain services, that maybe it is a time when companies really, really need to kind of step up to the plate and help out?
Well, absolutely. I think, the private sector has enormous potential to play a larger role in society.
And not doing enough, in your view, at this point?
Well, I think they're doing more and more. I think the whole orientation is changing so that they see it as part of their role in society.
What do you do, though, take, Shelly, an oil company, BP, I think about, then what's their responsibility then in terms of making sure there are no accidents that potentially ruin the environment?
Well, I think it's got to be part of the way they do business. I mean, they do provide heat and light and transportation and all that stuff. So as you start out, what's their basic role in society? They make it run to a certain extent. Now they have to take on as their responsibility to be safe in their practices, and I think they do accept that. Now, accepting it and having some things go wrong, or those are two different things. But I don't think there's a company today, frankly, as I deal with them, that does not accept the responsibility to society that they have.
Even coming off of the financial crisis, let's go back. And I know I have to bring that up because I think there are some who say nothing has really changed. I mean, do you really think that corporate America is kind of getting it and maybe what they owe to society at this point?
Well, I think they're getting it, and they're getting it because they're naturally getting it. But I also think they have to, because society, the public has spoken, and they've said, we care. And if you're going to be a market-driven company, and everyone says they are, then you have to pay attention to what the public is saying.
I mean, the brand is important. I think about a lot of companies over the last year or so, whether it was Toyota or BP or some others, or the financial firms over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, the brand is important, and you have to think about that.
Well, I walk around and say, that the brand is the single most valuable asset that any company has. And no company, I believe, would willfully risk their corporate reputation and their brand from certain practices. And I think the recognition is growing within companies that this is, when we talk about risk, reputation risk is right up there.
You guys also focused on education, and we've heard a lot about that from the Obama administration as of late. What do you think corporations need to do more when it comes to education?
Well, I think they're trying to fund various ways at new ways of educating people. And one of the conversations today was, no one knows what the right answer is.
Right.
But we've got to get in there and try some different things, because not everything we're doing now is working.
Shelly, I'm going to switch gears big time because we're just coming off the Oscars last night. The advertising market, I'm thinking about, you're so involved in that. They definitely changed gears in terms of the broadcast, definitely skewing towards a younger audience. Do you think it was a smart move? Because the ratings were down in some very key markets, at least the early numbers say that.
I saw the early numbers, but I think they're smart to focus on a younger audience. The Oscars to advertisers, it's a delicious audience for us because it's female. It's very female. It's very glamorous.
I make my husband watch.
It's very glamorous. People are very involved, and so it's a great advertising medium. I'm also struck by the fact, even though the ratings are down, we talk about how people people aren't watching television anymore. Well, over 35 million people watched that broadcast last night.
So people are watching.
They are watching, and there are very few other places where you can reach 35 million people at one time.
All right, so the Oscar brand is still pretty big.
Very big.
All right, got it. Shelley, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Shelly Lazarus, she's the chairman of the Oglivy Group.